Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. We are going to talk about The Defenders. If you haven't seen it and you're watching this before you do watch it and you want to know what I think, just because you want to know what people's opinions are before you put your time into this show, it's okay. It's not too bad. Two different words, two different meanings, I suppose. I did enjoy it. I thought it was good, but I loved Daredevil. I watched Jessica Jones. I didn't watch the other two. Maybe I was out of the loop a little bit too much with a couple of things. I enjoyed the show as a premise. I enjoyed the fact that it was like four different superheroes coming together and seeing how they'd work together, if they'd work well, if they wouldn't work well. But when I wasn't really interested in two of the four characters, I suppose it wasn't really for me. And I suppose it didn't help that I wasn't a huge fan of the villain in the show. I'm not going to name them until we get to a spoiler section. I wasn't a huge fan of the villain in this, and I feel like we're watching a lot of team-up shows. I feel like, don't get me wrong, I don't know anything too much about the TV show side, but I feel like Marvel did Avengers, DC are trying to counter it now with their own Justice League. I know it's a lot further behind Marvel than DC are a lot further behind Marvel than they are anything else. So they're sort of trying to catch up and do their own team up, and then we've got I feel like there's a team up of DC on TV on the small screen, and this is like Marvel going, don't think you can do what we can do, we'll do it better. And I wasn't really a huge fan of the fact that we're watching another team-up show. Why couldn't we keep them separate? I know they're all very close. I think they're quite close anyway. Are they? I don't know if they're even that close. I think they are. Some of them are quite close to each other. But then Iron Fist was nowhere near them and decided to move there. So yeah, I know they're quite close to each other, so stuff like this happening on big scale, security risks things are going to involve them all, but I'm getting a little bit bored by the fact that we're all teaming up, because it's all the similar dynamics of like, we don't really get along, but here we are, we better save the world, save our town, save our city, and stuff like that. So yeah. I don't know if it doesn't. I know I don't watch the DC and Marvel TV shows apart from the ones that are on Netflix. So it's not like I'm getting burned out by that. But I think maybe I've been burned out by it by watching so many Avengers films and then a Captain America film where they all team up and stuff. Can we not just keep everyone separate? Like, do we need a mini Avengers on TV? Because that's sort of what we got. Like 4 people just teaming up. A couple of them not really getting along and things. So yeah, that's my non-spoiler review of this. If team up shows where people don't really get along and you see how they get along and their dynamics working together and stuff like that, if that interests you, then this might be the show for you. But it really wasn't for me. I wasn't blown away by it. I'd have preferred a 3rd season of Daredevil on his own. Or even like a 3rd season of Daredevil where a couple of them get involved. Something like that. Yeah, I'd have preferred that, I think. Or even the 2nd season of Jessica Jones. If everyone's 2nd seasons got pushed back, 2nd and 3rd seasons got pushed back because of this, then that's going to disappoint me. I'd have preferred that over this, I think. But yeah, if a team-up show sounds good to you, with like the threat of New York and the world being in that show, then if that sounds good to you, then maybe it's a show for you, but it just wasn't for me. We're going from that now. That is my like mini section of what I thought of this film. This TV show. That's my mini section into spoilers. So if you've not seen it, then turn it off now unless you thought that this didn't sound good to you either and you just want to know what happened. So, spoilers. First thing I'm going to get out of the way is I was very worried for Sigourney Weaver in this show. Not because I thought she wasn't going to pull it off, because she had a lot of competition. Like I said, I've only watched Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Kilgrave, Wilson Fisk, and Punisher are my three, and I know Punisher's not a huge villain, I suppose, but he's like an anti-hero. But those three villains, is what Sigourney Weaver had to battle with. And given more time, maybe she could have done it. There was a lot of stuff going on with her character that I was finding really interesting. They tried to make her very human, and I liked that. With the whole terminal illness thing, you sort of tried to feel for her, but then she was like, well, now we're going to have to push our plans forward and destroy the world. So yeah, I enjoyed her her arc, and I really wanted to see how she'd handle like fighting and stuff like that. We saw a little glimpse of it, and I was like, okay, she can handle herself. I'm liking it. I'm intrigued of how this character's gonna wreck shit. And then the show, I'm gonna say the show decided, but the show went in a direction I was not looking forward to. They were talking about the fact that they could bring people back to life. I've never really spoke about this before, but when I watched Daredevil season 2, and I know this is going to be quite controversial in a way, I do not like Elektra. I was not a fan of Elektra. So when Sigourney Weaver was like, I have reborn Elektra, I've brought her back from the dead, I was like, oh no, please. And then when we find out she decapitates Sigourney Weaver, I was like, oh great, our main villain is now Elektra. So this show took a nosedive for me as soon as they killed Sigourney Weaver off, because I just had no interest in Elektra at all. I don't like her character. I don't think the person playing her is that bad. I think she's quite a good actress, actually. But there's some things, and I don't know if it's her accent or the accent she's putting on for Elektra, there's some things she says that grind on me. They just grate on me. I can't stand it. And it doesn't help that I just don't like the character in general anyway. So when she was announced as like, oh, well, I'm taking over, this is my crew now, I was like, oh, great. I thought the Black Sky stuff was over. I thought she was gone. No, we're back. And then she gets Daredevil killed, which is another problem I have with this show. Like, Daredevil's just like, no. Matt's like, no, I'm not leaving you. I know I can get through to you. Here's the bomb, go in, make sure everyone else clears the building, which is like the hero thing to do. I was with it. I understood what he was trying to do, right? When they basically confirmed there was no chance of Matt coming out, I was like, okay, what are we going to do here? And then they had like a little bit of a moment, and I'll keep moving, it's because I'm sat on my bed and I'm not very comfortable. Yeah, I was like, there's no chance of Matt getting out, let's see what happens here. Let's see if they find a way out, but they don't. They sort of just come to an agreement that they both loved and cared about each other, don't want to hurt each other anymore, they're sorry for the situation they're in. They share a loving kiss, and then the building collapses in on them. I was like, okay, ballsy. Like I said at the start of this, there's only two people I've ever really been interested in the Defenders, and that's Jessica Jones and Daredevil. And to have killed Daredevil off was quite a big shock. I didn't expect it to come. I didn't expect the TV show to be as ballsy as to kill off one of its main characters when we've only had 2 seasons of it, and it sort of sparked everything on Netflix. For like TV shows that are superhero based, like everyone liked Daredevil, so they started with Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones was good, they started with Luke Cage. I never really watched Luke Cage, I didn't know what I'd heard, I didn't really hear much about Luke Cage, so I was like, and I sort of skipped it. And then I heard Iron Fist was terrible. So I didn't watch it, and I watched 13 Reasons Why instead, said I was going to go back to it, and never did. So yeah, like it sort of sparked almost like a revolution of Marvel TV shows, because as far as I know, I tried to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. When it was on TV, but I didn't really keep up with it as much as I wanted to, but maybe that was the show's fault for not gripping me as much, but Daredevil really gripped me. I've really got interested in Jessica Jones and Kilgrave's dynamic and stuff, so I really got into those 2 shows. To have killed off their main sort of their figurehead for it, like Iron Man, it's like killing off Iron Man, I suppose, as much as like they've played out Iron Man to a point where they could kill him off now. like, they just started with Daredevil. Daredevil had only just become a main character, so to have killed him off was a bit of a shock. But then, of course, we found out that they didn't kill him off. He's fine, he's alive, and that's probably going to start season 3 with him trying to get back to being Daredevil or get back to his normal life or something. And that was a really big cop-out for me. I was really unimpressed by their... like I said, I was like, ballsy move, alright, let's see where you're going to go with this. I'm sort of curious to see what happens from here. Oh, we're going nowhere. Like, we're back to seeing if Matt wants to be Matt or Daredevil again, because the start of this series was Matt being like, well, I don't want to be Daredevil anymore, but I'm being forced into that situation again. Is that what we're going to get for season 3? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen from here. I was very curious to see... I'm very curious to see what happens now, but I would have... If you're going to do something, do it. Like, I don't know. I liked the idea of them killing off a character. Like, it made the series, like... I don't know, it just cemented it a little bit. And if they saved Daredevil, does that mean Elektra survived as well? Like, would they have gone in there and just saved one person? Did they know who Daredevil and Elektra were, so they didn't save Elektra because of that? Like... It asks a lot more questions that I don't want answers to. I liked the idea of them just both coming to death together. So yeah, those two elements really ruined the show for me. I suppose because I just don't like Elektra. I just don't like her. I can't stand the character of Elektra. Yeah, so I think that was sort of my killing blow when I found out Elektra was back in it. Yeah, so that was sort of everything I've got to say about this show. There's not much else I can say about it. That's what ruined the show for me was that little dynamic, and it was back. So yeah, I wouldn't have gone out my way to watch this again. So yeah, let me know what you think. If you completely agree with me, let me know. If you completely disagree with me, which I am not surprised if people completely disagree with me on this, let me know about that as well. I know Mike's in this. I'd like to get his thoughts now. When we see things that the other person hasn't seen, usually we're very secretive about it. So we say, we've watched this. Are you interested in watching it? If the other person says yes, that's it. No comments are made or anything like that. We're like, okay, let me know when you're finished. I've finished, Mike. Let me know what you thought. And anyone else, let me know what you thought about this. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe you really loved it. I just really didn't. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again in the next review that I was going to say is planned, but it isn't. So this is going to be a surprise for both of us.